Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's yo boy 3Lych, and welcome to Boss Rush Island 1. Today we're going to be getting 109 pops, starting off with a 302 tack shooter and Azili as our hero. We want our tack shooter to be kind of in these gravestones so that it can hit Lych as soon as possible, and I'll be placing a tech bot so that our hero can use it later. Once we pop that first skull, we're going to get down a 302 tack shooter and then place down Azili on strong. Then we're going to get down a third 302 tack shooter and a fourth 302 tack shooter. Make sure to upgrade to tier 3 before you upgrade the lower tiers, as that saves money. And then for the fifth tack shooter, you want to get up a 320, and then we're going to get up a 320 right in this corner, get up a 302 right here, and then get down another 302 over here, and these guys are of course just to pop down these souls. Alternatively, there's a couple of other things you could do to pop the souls. I'm thinking of a monkey ace, but I think this is just the easiest solution. After that, we're going to spam down two more 302s, and when we're placing them, we're going to want to put them kind of in front of the boss here, and we're going to put down another one here, and now we're going to make our save for... Nope, never mind. We're going to be placing down one more, and then we're going to make our save for an ice monkey. Now you're going to see here that first tap was placed so that we can have an ice monkey that fits right here. 410 is all we need, and then we're going to try to place down a tack shooter up here and make it a 204 as soon as we possibly can. This is of course going to work out super well with the embrittlement. The embrittlement adds damage, and because each of these attacks it shoots out deals 1 damage, it pretty much doubles it. It's very powerful. Up next, we're going to go for another 204 overdrive. Of course, same reason as before, but now we're going to want to get some more money, so we're going to start going for a 204 monkey balloon trap and set Azili to first to help deal with some of these camel balloons that are coming in. And now, also to deal with camel balloons, we're going to place down a cleansing foam. This cleansing foam will later be an overclock, who is going to be buffing our attack zone that we get up. And that is the next tower we're going to be saving up for. So once we're getting pretty close to the tack zone, we can sell a couple of tack shooters to get there, or if you're kind of far off like me, I'm $2,000 off, then you can go for the tack zone just whenever the next skull pops. It kind of depends a little bit on balloon trap RNG, and you guys can do this a little bit faster because I forgot to place down a farmer until later, which is very good for y'all. But yeah, you're going to want to get down an overclock, and then even though Azili is handling the camos pretty fine, we're just going to go for a 300 monkey sub to just make sure the camos are fully taken care of. The overclock we're going to put down on the tack zone. It's kind of hard to find, but you guys should be able to do it. And then we're going to want to upgrade quickly to a 004 monkey village. This guy is going to be buffing up our income, both for the trap and just for these regular balloons here. We're going to want to get down a 400 village to buff up our attack zone while we make our save up for the XXL trap. XXL trap is $45,000, and you're going to notice that we haven't really sold many of these towers so far that we've placed, even though that's what you're usually doing in Boss Rush. Of course, be sure to overclock that attack zone. But the reason we don't sell things too much, we can sell them at the end if you need to, but it's because of Lich's big sell. It makes selling half as efficient as before. Anyways, we're going to get down that XXL trap as soon as possible. It's actually very powerful. It's going to make us 17,000 just for the first trap. And now we're going to start going for a Sky Shredder. You're going to see here that our attack zone is kind of getting out of range, but that's why we have the 400 village. It's kind of hidden behind the umbrella, but just make sure you have it down, otherwise the attack zone will stop attacking and you'll be losing out on the little bit of damage that it is doing. Right here, you could sell the tack zone if you want to, however, I do think it's better to wait and then just sell these guys when needed, and eventually your trap will fill up, and now you'll have the Sky Shredder. Get down a second overclock, because we of course want to buff our Sky Shredder, and then upgrade the village to a Jungle Drums, again to buff the Sky Shredder. It gives a nice 17% attack speed bonus, very, very powerful. We're just going to want to be overclocking, alternating between the attack zone and the Sky Shredder. It's kind of just, taking turns. You can upgrade Azili to level 7. I accidentally upgraded it to level 8, which is completely not needed. Please do not do that. That's a waste of 10k, which could have been spent on getting up that mad upgrade earlier. So you're going to want to get down a 205 Elite Defender. It pairs up amazingly with his Ely's Totem. Of course, the Totem takes away 10 lives, which means it gives the 4 times attack speed bonus to the Elite Defender. Elite Defender you're going to want to put on first targeting, and here I got up a 240 Rocket Storm Monkey, so that when we get our MAD, it'll be off cooldown as soon as possible. The Elite Defender is on first, mostly because dealing with these skulls can be very painful, and with it on first targeting, it's going to be stopping you from, well, dying. As soon as possible, we're going to be upgrading our MAD, and then using its ability, and of course we're going to want to get down a 3rd overclock for it, but for now it's actually okay to just have 2 overclocks because we're getting out of range of the attack zone very soon, which means it's not needed to be overclocked anymore. We're going to start going for a 204 Spectre, and how fast you get up the Spectre doesn't really matter, which is why I didn't immediately commentate on it. What matters is when we get it to the Flying Fortress, which is I think about 10 times as powerful as the Spectre, which is kind of ridiculous because it's only 4 times the price, but hey, it's very, very powerful. What can I say? Whenever these multiples of 10 skulls pop, you're going to see the Lych skulls come out, which means you have to kind of retarget the MAD, which kind of sucks, but whatever. We're going to sell our attacks here and embrittlements and stuff so that we can afford the Flying Fortress early. The attack zone, of course, is really the only thing that is kind of valuable, but $10,000 for something we spent $20,000 on is kind of a ripoff. Whatever. We're going to get down a 3rd overclock so that we can be overclocking the MAD, the Flying Fortress, and the Sky Shredder. They're all very powerful, and we're going to be overclocking them. We're going to get down a 402 main Moab on first, who is eventually going to become our Cripple Moab. Of course, it is going to be adding a big damage debuff, which helps out a lot for the Sky Shredder and the Flying Fortress. I guess it buffs the MAD too, but like it's a 1% buff instead of being a very significant thing like it is for the rest of them. We're going to get up the Energizer. This is going to make sure that our overclocks get off cooldown much, much faster. It's also going to be directly buffing the MAD ability, as we're going to be getting it up 20% more often, and that is where about half of the MAD's damage comes from, so it's a good buff. One thing we could be going for here is a middle path sniper, but I'm kind of getting distracted here. Try to keep up with your abilities, make sure to overclock the MAD before every single ability. I don't really do too well on that, so you guys can honestly do a higher score than me. But anyways, after that, we're going to go for a Call to Arms next. We're just going to do the middle path sniper to tier 5 after we get up the Call to Arms, because it's a good thing to just purchase while we're saving up for the homeland. This middle path tier 5 sniper buffs the other 2 snipers' attack speed by 33.33%, which of course is significant, especially for the top path sniper, as there's a lot of things for it to be hitting. As you can see, those zombie ZOMGs are all taking a big effect. Now we're going to upgrade our Call to Arms to a homeland defense, and here there's kind of a lot of different things you can do, but in general this is going to be our setup. I've sped up the footage to 1.5 times speed, and now we're just going to start working on getting a Megalodon. Of course, that means we're going to be placing down 4 Orcas, merging them all together, and then placing down some more Beast Handlers to buff up the Megalodon stats. At 90 skulls, we're going to have a pretty, scary looking set of balloons come out. These guys are all going to have to be targeted by the MAD in order to go down, otherwise it's just simply too slow, and there's some chance that you die if you don't target the MAD right. We're just going to work on our Orcas here. And one of the amazing things about the Megalodon is that it is going to be stunning all of these zombie balloons, alright? A little known fact, or, it kind of depends on how much you use the Megalodon, but its thrashing attack will knock back other balloons, and these zombies can be affected by those stuns and knockbacks, which is very powerful. We're just going to set up the Orca so that it's kind of as far to the left as possible, so that eventually it's going to be able to hit the boss balloon. It's coming up real close, and if you really want to, if you're kind of in a rush, you can place down a pool, or you can get down Lord of the Abyss, but that's really not necessary. What is necessary, however, is getting up another overclock just to make sure everything's going fine. And you can see here, we put down one more Beast Handler in this area, and then I messed up by placing down some Engineers. But yeah, Once the Megalon is at 132 power, that is the maximum power, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. We kind of have just like an absurd amount of money here, so we don't have to worry about like, do we place on tier 3, do we place on tier 4? Just give your Megalodon power. What I'm doing here is saving up for a Dart Paragon. However, I don't really recommend this. Dart Paragon only gets up about 600,000 pops, whereas the other towers, they are getting in the millions. Of course, that is only because they've been around longer. However, it just doesn't feel economically viable to get up the Apex Plasma Master. I mean, I want it to work, but it just doesn't. Alright, what you should be focusing on is keeping track of your abilities, and then place down stuff like the boat tier 5s. The top path is the one you want first. It's going to buff the planes we have down. And then, you can spam down kind of whatever you want. You can put down Spectres, you can put down just more tier 5s. The Archmage is great, so is the Ray of Doom. Attack Zone, of course, is going to be powerful. Just put it near the track. Do whatever you want. I would just not recommend the Plasma Master, but if you are going to get it, here we just sold the Balloon Trap and a couple of other things near the side and got up the Apex Plasma Master. We then die pretty quickly, and honestly, I don't think it's really going to be that viable to get past 110 skulls, but here I get 109. That's a pretty good score for me. I'm happy with that. If this guide helped you out, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and use code YOBOY, that's YOBOI, in the BTD6 store. It really helps me out, and it costs you guys nothing. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace out. Bye.